a lot is happening that is getting no attention at all, including the total evaporation of the First Amendment, free speech. Does it exist anymore? Not really. And there's a reason for that, because the federal government is trying to silence people who disagree with it, the Biden administration. Here's one example. The Biden administration silenced author Alex Berenson, former New York Times reporter, novelist, serious person. Why'd they do that? Because he asked unauthorized questions about the COVID shot. So Twitter, turns out, acting on orders from the Biden administration, banned his account. Now, no one really knew that. People only suspected it. But now we know for certain because Berenson did something that Twitter was not expecting. He sued and he won. And he found out the identity of the person who got him silenced. And it turns out that person was not a White House staffer. Bigger than that. Alex Berenson, the author of Pandemia, joins us now to explain exactly what happened. Alex Berenson, thanks so much for coming on. So I just love the fact that you got to the bottom of this. Who is the person who got you censored?
Well, okay, this is a long story. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to say right now I dropped the entire story on my Substack, which is Unreported Truths. So after people hear this bit, they can go read the whole story. But what we know is that there's a guy named Andy Slavitt who was in the White House as a senior advisor to the Biden administration's COVID response team. And as early as April 2021, Slavitt was talking to Twitter about why, who I was and that I was a problem for the White House and I was discouraging people from getting the vaccines, which the White House wanted, and asking them why they hadn't banned me. So we know that. And we know that in July, as vaccine efficacy was fading, the administration very publicly and privately got upset and wanted the social media platforms, including Twitter, including Facebook, to start banning people. And President Biden said on July 16th of 2021 that Facebook and other platforms were, quote unquote, killing people by allowing people like me who were asking reasonable questions about the vaccines on their platforms. Okay. Then Twitter struck out at me in July. They gave me 3 strikes, okay, and I'd already had one previous strike, which I didn't even know about. So I was 1 strike away from being suspended at the end of July. And by the way, Andy Slavitt, who is no longer in the White House, but was still sort of at the center of this conspiracy and talking to Albert Bourla, who was the head of Pfizer, and talking to people inside the administration, on a practically daily basis, was very upset that he was continuing to push Twitter secretly to ban me. Still, when I came back on the platform last year in August and was asking even harder questions about the vaccines at a time when the Biden administration knew they were going to be pushing for mandates, knew they were going to be pushing for boosters, they still wouldn't ban me. And then Scott Gottlieb, who is a director of Pfizer on the executive committee of Pfizer, which is made tens of billions of dollars from selling these vaccines, went to Twitter and said, this guy is a problem, and then they banned me.
So you criticized his product in which he had a financial interest, and he got you censored. Scott Gottlieb. The consumer product
that's what it looks like
money.
Based on the documents that we have, yes.
Well, we would love to have Scott Gottlieb on the show anytime. But in the meantime, Alex Berenson, thank you for explaining that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Twitter. Thanks, Tucker.